It's FooTalk Live.
You talking to me?
Compelling and lively banter.
Are you going to talk to us?
Talking foosball.
Foosball was how I measured my value as a man. You took that away.
Players and fans, promoters and pros. Unedited and raw.
Talk.
Living in the moment.
We have a lot of important things to talk about.
All while practicing social distancing.
Cool. We'll talk. No big whoop.
Let's get this thing started. FooTalk Live. Coming to you live from the studios of Foosball Radio and inside Foos TV. It's the 39th episode of FooTalk Live, brought to you in part by 518 Prints, one of the best printers of promotional items, t-shirts, jackets, hoodies, and foosball apparel. Visit 518prints.com today. Brought to you in part by Foosballers, the movie. Download your copy of this Joe Hestinga documentary at foosballersthemovie.com. FooTalk Live also brought to you by Foosball Clubs USA, promoting foosball through school systems all over the country. Visit foosballclubsusa.com and make a donation today. And brought to you by the United States Table Soccer Organization, the USTSO, helping usher in a new era of competitive foosball. Become a member and register at usafoosball.com. Welcome. I'm Tom Robinson. It's our 39th episode of FooTalk Live. Yes, we are going to talk about foosball, among some other things this evening. First of all, I have to launch in with a quick mention because Jim Stevens has decided to take a bit of time out this evening. Now, he's got a legitimate excuse. He's actually celebrating his birthday today. So it's cool. Jim, I get that. I hope you're celebrating and having some fun with the family. I have a feeling that you're at that age now that maybe somebody will get you a gold-plated walker for your birthday. At least that's what I would do. So in the meantime, we're very, very lucky in this situation. We have someone who's volunteered to jump into Jim's shoes, and I hope that he was wearing his socks. Anyway, we're going to go all the way to Florida now. A person that has joined us in the past, and also a World Cup champion, a gold medalist. Her name is Midori Kimura. Welcome, Midori.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great.
Thanks for jumping in. This is great. What's make me jealous? What's the weather like in Florida tonight?
Okay, well, it's actually pretty chilly, but it's pretty chilly for Florida weather.
Yeah, define
so
chilly.
For everybody else, it's probably not that chilly, but I'm the big baby when it comes to to being cold. So it's 52 right now.
52,
and I'm freezing.
come on. And it's what, like, 9:00 at night, 52, that's like swimming weather here.
That's like death. I didn't think I was going to make it. I had to go from my car to the store and back to my car, and I thought I was going to get frostbite.
Well, I am impressed. And you warmed up just in time for the show. That's great. Awesome.
Yes.
Very, very cool.
Happy birthday, Jim.
Yes. Happy birthday to Jim. And how's life for you, Midori? What's going on? Are you maintaining there?
Yeah, it's the holidays kind of I work in a restaurant, so the
right.
busy. So I've just been working a lot. Haven't really slacking on my foosball as
okay.
It's holidays are over, so hopefully I can settle back in and start playing some more.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to that for sure. Absolutely. Well, we also we always have to make sure that we make enough room here because there's an individual who's always here, it seems, for FooTalk Live with Jim and I. But of course, tonight being no exception, let's travel all the way to the Windy City, where I have a feeling it's a little chillier than 52. There he is, right on time. Mark the Bull Torres.
I would like an Arnold Palmer at the Omelette Parlor. I would like an Arnold Palmer at the Omelette Parlor.
Midori, if you haven't noticed
Great
already,
enunciation.
He's been using these exercises to get better at being on air. So,
welcome to my show, you guys. Thank you for joining me once again this week. I appreciate you starting it early without me. How are you?
Good, Mark. What's happening in Chicago this evening? What's going down?
Cold as hell. It's freezing over, man. It's like apocalypse, end of the world. I bet you it's like 80 degrees and Midori's complaining.
Right.
So whatever.
Is that 52?
I didn't even hear that.
You didn't hear 52? Yeah. 52 degrees.
Snowing here.
Above zero.
So whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Horrible.
Okay. Well,
thank you for having yourselves on my show. For sure.
It's always a pleasure, Mark. Always a pleasure. Well, since this is a special occasion, Jim is opening gifts, and we're sharing the gift of Foosball Talk or FooTalk Live. So, it wouldn't be complete if we didn't really kind of kick things off immediately tonight. Now, we are going to forego the top 5, but we want to get right directly to our special guest, who is joining us all the way from Oklahoma, happens to be Midori Kimura's partner in the 2019 World Cup competition, as the ladies took the gold. And of course, you know the name, Liz Hill-Moore. Hello, Liz.
Sawatika. How's it going?
How are you?
Just doing good. Excited to be here as always. Love to talk foos
Cool.
with everyone.
Yeah. When was the last time we talked? It must have been back in the summer last year.
It could be. I have the worst memory, so yes.
So what's how's foosball withdrawal going for you? How are you holding up?
There hasn't been too much withdrawal for me. I mean, it's just different. So okay. I mean, I have a table here at home. I went to a couple of tournaments. So it's not too bad, but I'm ready to hit the normal stops.
Yes, exactly. Well, there's rumors going around that maybe things might be sort of getting back on track, maybe this summer, possibly. With a bit of time and some inoculations and things like that. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yep, exactly. Well, guys,
hold on a second. Let's have a moment of amnesty, okay? Because Midori has like 3 or 4 or 5 tables, whatever it is, and she doesn't touch them. Let's just put that out there. She doesn't even look at them. She walks by them with disgust to this day.
I look at them.
How many is it?
Fine.
How many tables do you have?
4.
4. Wow.
Yeah.
They're not all mine, but we I think the Garlando is Tom's and the Bonzini's Tony's, but they kind of contributed because that's where we usually all get together to play. And then we have 2 tornadoes. So it doesn't do any good if all the tables are in different spots. So we put them all in one spot so that we can all play on them. And by we, that doesn't mean me, but
okay.
everybody else.
But I want to get to Liz. So I know Midori has 4 tables, and on one of those tables, there's probably a box of Cinnabon. They're not doing anything with those tables. Liz, when you practice, honest to God, what does practice really look like? Is it once a week, twice a week, once a day for 5 minutes? What does it really look like?
It doesn't look like any of that. Practice for me is, we play here at my house usually every week with some local rookies and amateurs. But before a tournament, what practice looks like for me is just execution and building back muscle memory. So a lot of that also includes videos. Now, I used to never watch videos. I do a lot now. I've learned that you kind of have to feed the mind and not just your muscle memory.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's what. Yep.
Yeah. So, well, hopefully you get a chance to start building back more muscle memory very, very soon. So before we proceed here, guys, into FooTalk Live, and by the way, if you're just joining us, Jim Stevens is celebrating his birthday this evening, taking some much needed time off. And of course, now we've got Midori Kimura from Florida. We've got Mark, of course, from Chicago. And now Liz Hill is joining us from Oklahoma. We're going across the nation tonight. And I'm right here in upstate New York. So we're going to be, we'll do a couple of the normal things we usually do, including, but I'd like to get to of course, propose a toast here, is our IPA of the week. But let's see how this goes. What Jim and I like to do right about this time is to reveal our favorite IPA. And of course, this occasion, what I had to do was run out and find a really good IPA near the house. In fact, it's all of 15 minutes from my house. It's a place called Common Roost Brewing Company, and they make something called Good Fortune IPA. And I'm going to sample. Let's excuse me for 2 seconds here while I pop the top and take a sip. Luscious. Oh, yes, that is good. It's actually, and it's right here in my neighborhood. So, okay. All right. So, okay, guys, I've got my IPA going. Midori, what are you consuming this evening?
So I've got something from a more of an international corporation. They make great 1% milk, and I've got my little chocolate chip cookies. And it's not bubbly, but
cookies and milk. Cookies and milk. I love it. That's a first on the IPA of the week for sure. Cookies and milk. And okay, Liz, how about you?
Okay, so I cracked open a bottle of wine that my wonderful friend Keisha Rue and also gold medalist teammate gave me for my birthday. It is Cooper and Thief.
Oh, nice.
And this is a red wine blend that has been aged in bourbon barrels.
Oh, I've liked that kind of wine. Yeah, I've had that before. That's good stuff.
So I've just cracked it open, and it's interesting. It's different at first, but it's growing on me. So
and that's the best thing about wines, right? It tends to change. So okay, Mark, what about you? What do you got?
Well, it's kind of masochistic because almost every week I drink a LaCroix, and every week I complain about it. So it's addictive, clearly. And it's a lime-flavored LaCroix. I'm not sure if I've ever had lime on the show.
Okay.
But I probably have. And these things don't taste like anything the fruit they're supposed to. And I continue to drink them by the case. So bottoms up.
Yes, sir. And here's to you. All
By
right.
the way, Midori with her milk and cookies is lobbying. She has Nickelodeon and Disney lobbying for a sponsorship with that milk and cookie gig.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the motivation there, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah, very cool.
He's going for Denny's for our 3 a.m. tournament pancake visits, but I mean, I'll take Disney or Nickelodeon.
All of these sponsors now. Denny's is sponsoring and Disney. Wow, I'm very flattered that they would want to join.
I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, right. That's very cool. So, guys, I want to propose a toast. Now, first of all, we got to propose a toast to the birthday boy, Jim Stevens. You know, he's definitely he's doing what he's got to do to celebrate. Now, the other person that we also want to toast to today is another person having a birthday. We all know Maryam Aly, right? Or Maryam Aly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Happy birthday, Miriam.
We love you, Miriam.
Yes. The best. And to you guys, here's a toast.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Now, I don't want to bring the party down here, but I do want to make mention of a person that this last week left us from this foosball world. His name is Tim Fuji Alberts, and I don't know if you guys know of Tim, but Fuji was a legendary '90s and early 2000s player. Played with Harvey Young quite a bit, but he passed away this last week. It was sad and unexpected, but he was living in New Hampshire and was putting on some tournaments in this last year. We got a chance to play with him about a year ago before COVID hit, and he seemed like he was in good spirits in those days, but apparently he had been suffering from an illness. So again, we want to propose a toast to Fuji Alberts.
Cheers, Fuji.
To Fuji. Cheers, Fuji.
So on to more happy topics here. When it comes to FooTalk Live, of course, we have another type of tradition we'd like to celebrate, which is taking you back in time to a moment in history where things, everything came together in an amazing moment. And in fact, we're going to do that right now. This is FooTalk Live Flashback.
With great moments in foosball history, this is a FooTalk Live Flashback.
Midori Kimura move into the forward position. The United States leads by 4 goals. She will shoot for the gold medal. Kimura strokes it home, and there it is. The United States of America has won the 2019 Women's World Cup gold medal. Great comeback by the Germans, fueled by incredible shooting from Maura Borman at goal, but the United States holds on as Midori Kimura and Liz Hill-Moore drive home the final goal. And for the first time ever, the United States women have won gold here at the ITSF World Cup.
Listen in next time for another great moment in foosball history. It's FooTalk Live Flashback.
What do you think about that? And what is it? And now to sit back and listen to that happen on this end of things, how does that make you guys feel? Midori, you tell us.
I miss it. It makes me think that this year, it's January of a new year, we were supposed to have a World Cup this year.
Yes.
And I get it. I get it. It was the right call to postpone it. But man, I'm so disappointed. Like I can't even describe how bad. Like that's what I want to go do right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we'd like you to go do it too. So Liz, how do you feel after listening to something like that?
Oh, hearing that just makes my heart pound all over again. But I'm with Midori. It's so disappointing to come off of that win and to be anxious and to look forward to going back to the next one. Midori and I text each other back and forth World Cup talk all the time here and there, and I just miss it. I miss it. I know the rest of the team probably misses it as well. But
Right.
just following what she said, it was definitely the right call, and it is what it is. So we just take it and we'll be ready.
Yes, and you've got more time to practice and prepare and to mentally get back into it. So yeah, I mean, there's a
Absolutely.
silver lining here. By the way, guys, well, it looks like we had a caller, but they've disappeared already. But I'm sure we're going to get plenty tonight. So this evening, what we're doing is we're foregoing the top five for something a bit more entertaining. In fact, we've been soliciting questions for you guys all week on Inside Foos on the Facebook page, and we've got a pile. So we're going to play the game. It's called Ask Me Anything. So we may
Hey,
as well.
Tom.
Yes,
Tom,
sir.
let's go back for 1 second. I got a
Yeah.
question for you guys about the World Cup.
Yeah.
There was the first World Cup win for the women's,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to pretend like I know the history or the struggles or challenges. I imagine it has something to do with mastery or strength on the other tables. So you guys get this big win in 2019, and you guys are prepping for the World Cup this year. And what do you think it was going to be as hard or harder or not as? Do you think it was going to be more difficult to win again this year, or do you think it would have been? Do you think it would have been as challenging as it was? How's that?
I don't know. I mean, it felt. I mean, obviously, it was difficult, the whole way through. So I don't think it would be any less difficult just because we won. But in a sense, like you kind of know what to expect because some of us, like me and Sully, it was our first time on the women's team. So I just really had no idea going into it what to expect. And I know I've said that before. So in a way, I would feel more prepared going back. I don't know if that would make, the actual event or winning any easier, but I would definitely feel more prepared. But our team felt great. Like it was, we were all just, I don't know, it just all came together so well. Like the team is so talented. So in a way, it was like wanted to keep the momentum going into the next World Cup. And so now it's, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, so like I've watched that finals match a gazillion times, and most recently I've watched it too. I really try to look at different things and take and just look for different takeaways, different perspective, and each time I watch it, I do get that. So I think it'll be as challenging when we go back. The one thing I think will be a little bit easier, if you want to call it easier, maybe a little bit less, is I mean we were all incredibly anxious, incredibly nervous. Even those of us that have been on the team for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, we were all ready to get to the finals. But when you actually finally get there for the first time, you can't wish away the butterflies in your stomach and just the prayers that you will not choke or gag. I mean those feelings are very real, and you have to control them. And I think as a team, like, and I'm sure the German team was nervous too. They hadn't been in a final in a while, or maybe they have. I can't remember, but I know they don't have a bunch of World Cup wins. They might have one. But I'm sure they were nervous as well. But just the way our team handled our nerves, and just when I look back and I watch the match over and over again, and I know how these girls play. I play against them all the time. I play with them. We know each other's games, and there were definitely moments of anxiety, but everybody just composed themselves so well.
Yeah.
and that's what I look forward to the next go round, because I think we'll be able to handle that a little bit better.
You ever step into a match prior to the match and have a feeling in your inner, like your inner feelings, like this sort of like almost like a hunch, like I know I'm going to win. You ever had that happen?
I
have
felt
in the
good.
past, but I try and suppress that feeling.
Oh, okay.
Because it is bad luck. It is bad luck.
Bad luck.
It
Interesting.
is
Okay.
bad luck.
Tom, there are many times, Tom, where I walk up to a table and open singles first round against a rookie, and there's just a hot fire in the loins. I'm going to win this match. All right? And it just comes to fruition like every time.
Right.
And then my second round is against Fred, and that feeling is gone. So that's my experience.
That I can understand that.
Feeling I had, but I didn't know that I could black out while playing like an hour and a half long match, but apparently you can.
Okay.
So I'm excited to go back and hopefully get the opportunity to be in that same situation and have some idea of what's going on and then be able to remember it afterwards without having to watch it on video.
Understood. Yeah, understood. Wow. No, it is truly extraordinary when you think about being the best in the world and proving it, on the table. That's got to be something how do you handle that?
Midori, you know that scene in Old School where Will Ferrell is debating and he blacks out and then he like comes up with the most amazing rebuttal and then he wakes up. Congratulations, you're the Will Ferrell of Foosball finals. Nice job.
I love it.
My dreams come true. I can retire.
Well, because we aren't doing a top 5, I think perhaps what we can do is we'll play the game, which is called Answer or Ask Me Anything.
FoosTalk Live proudly presents Ask Me Anything.
You can ask me anything.
You have to ask me nicely. You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
You have some questions for me, do you? All right, well, let's get to them.
All right, let's get to them. So you guys ready for this?
Let's do it.
All right. All right. So the first question comes from our good friend Maryam Aly. And she wants to know, and of course we're on the subject already, what was going through your head during the last leg of the women's final in Murcia, Spain. So Midori, you may go first.
Well, why don't you follow that up with Kati's reply to Miriam's question, if you have it there. If not,
I don't.
I know what it says.
Okay.
She said what was probably going through our head was trying to figure out how to block Mara's 2-bar. And for anyone that doesn't know, it was looking real bad.
Oh boy.
For me and Liz. Mara was just like killing it. Like it like 6 in a row or something like that. I don't even know. I don't even want to know how many she scored in a row from the back. And like I said, I don't even know what I was doing at that point. Like I was trying to get it together, but I was blacked out. Like I'm just trying to stay vertical. and I replied, what was going through my head was probably trying to figure out if there was any caves in Spain that I could go hide in.
I love it.
If this kept going the way that it was going, so that I would never have to show my face again. But there was a lot going through my head, and not a lot. And none of it was helping me.
Interesting. Okay, and then you can reflect on that now. That's it. That's a good point. Liz, what about you?
I mean, it was definitely a stressful moment because we could not get our defense together. And she was executing, right and left. And it's obvious, like, when you go back and you watch, she was looking and paying attention to the zone and the holes and the bobs, and she executed so well. Like Midori said, like 6 in a row. And we were zigging when we should have zagged. It was just, we couldn't get it together. We eventually did, like later in the match, after they scored 6, she would be shooting out of the back and then it would go right into our guys because we settled into a zone. And really the zone that we needed to use is a zone that we probably would use on anybody else who has a great pull shot. Right.
Okay.
But crawling in a hole was definitely something
that was at the top of them. That was consuming more of my brain than it should have been. But I have 2 things to say about that. One, because we kind of had that cushion from just the entire team being able to accumulate, the point lead that we had to get to the very last spot, which we were playing on their home table, which is not where you want to be in your final set because they have the advantage, typically. But that's just kind of like a shout out to everybody that was able to, get us that cushion when we needed the absolute most.
Sure.
To be able to gather ourselves. And then secondly, the funny thing about it is that the entire week that we were playing foosball, not even just in the World Cup the team event, but me and Liz also played classic doubles together.
Right.
And I think 98% of the time I played forward, and we had like our zone down, and then we switched in the final set in the World Cup final, and we never, I don't know, like I still couldn't tell you what the zone was.
No.
I still don't know.
We may not have discussed it. I don't know either.
I don't think we ever did. It was like we just knew, because we've played together in so many other events, just on tour here. So with me playing forward and her playing goalie, like we just know where to be, and then we swap, and we have I don't even know.
That's amazing.
You know what's beautiful about that? I mean this sincerely. Having watched as much foosball as I've watched, and seen as many guys, mostly guys, hit the panic button and never recover. Like over and over and over. These guys hit the panic button and they do exactly what you guys did. They black out. But instead of having winning and championship instincts and execution, it's the other way, right? It's passing the ball backward. It's not even being able to execute. You guys have championship winning instincts. And I've asked this question many times.
You have not seen my World Finals.
Well, you're still a winner, and I know that when you were blacked out in your Will Ferrell mode, you shot that moving spray pull shot from goal that was a monster, and then whether you meant it or not, you shot the split that went off the man to win the match. And Liz, you went up front and carried it. So I'm just very proud of seeing you guys. Whatever the panic button was, you guys still had championship composure, and you won. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. I mean, it was truly a team effort. Like every match that we played, doubles, singles, was just it was just a setup for Midori and I to finish. And yes, we did have a pretty sweet cushion, thank goodness. There's a reason for that. It's for moments like that. You are ending on your opponent's table and to a very strong team. I mean, we never played them. And Midori and I didn't play any tornado matches together. I mean, it is so difficult to only play the foreign tables.
Right.
Midori, I think we had one tornado match against Austria.
Did we?
Maybe. I don't know. I just remember playing pretty much predominantly all the foreign tables, and not ever touching tornado. And as strong as Midori is on a tornado table, as strong as I am, on a tornado table, we could have crushed it there too, but we have teammates that crush it.
Right.
So,
and that comes into the whole strategy of who plays what. And it's just like that sends me and Liz into just a spiral of talking strategy of what's the best thing to do in different formats. And should we always play the away table? It's a never ending cycle of strategy.
Well,
exactly.
Of course, and you always have to change it up because you never know what's going to come at you next. Because, like you were saying earlier, you don't know what these people are capable of doing. You don't play them on a regular basis, so you have to adjust more rapidly. Correct?
Absolutely,
correct.
And that's why we need to go play more international tournaments.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. There you go.
Yes.
There you go. Here's another question I wanted to toss at you. This comes from Judy Templer Schober. And she wants to know, Midori and Liz, if team names were to be used again, like they did in the TS days, the table, I guess that's table soccer or tournament soccer days. What name would you play under in singles, dubs, and mixed? What other? I guess that's the question. Am I phrasing that properly?
I don't know.
What's your guys' team name? Pick a team name.
Right.
The two of you.
Oh, ours would be Team Sparkle.
Yeah, we're
Team
definitely
Sparkle.
Team Sparkle.
Okay.
I don't know that I would have a team name for myself or even mixed, but I can tell you a story from the 90s when we used to have 4-on-4.
Oh.
At the end of the tournaments, and we would always have team names. I mean, that was kind of fun. I don't know, Midori, would you have a team name for yourself in singles
or
mixed?
Just like a nickname, or
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know how that all works, but I don't know. Midorky? I don't know.
Midorky.
Come on now.
I don't know.
It is a team, so you might want to like collaborate with your partner on the name. I don't know.
Oh.
It does an old man good to hear a young lady who refers to herself in the sense of Midorky. Okay, that's humility right there. That's humility.
Well, then I would definitely be Lizard if she's going to be Midorky.
Lizard and Midorky.
Yeah, so I mean,
that sounds like a crime team, doesn't it? Lizard and Midorky. Solving crimes, going out and getting the bad guys. Love it.
Let's go.
So here's another one from Linda Lee. How satisfying is it when playing people, men who underestimate you? Liz?
Well, I mean, it's satisfying always to win. I mean, of course, if you're clearly, if you're walking up to the table, which I have done, and at first somebody is making it clear that they're underestimating you, of course, when you put a beating on them, it's lovely and satisfying. But, for the most part, winning is winning. And the array of players that we have now, I mean, you have like little Sam, and I remember Solely when she was like little itty bitty, like I don't care who's across the table from me now.
Right.
I just want to win. But yes, there is a satisfaction, especially if you beat somebody that's of a higher rank than you. I know I watched Midori win expert singles in a field that was monstrous, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I only made it to the finals of expert singles at a nationals one year. Didn't come home with a win in a field that was pretty decent, but watching that happen is really awesome.
That's great.
But truly, people should just walk up to the table and not be worried about what the other person looks like or their gender, age. You just got to win.
Yeah. Midori, what would you say to that? Those people that underestimate you, how do you feel about beating those people?
Well, it's great. But it's almost also kind of, and I don't know if this is just because I'm awkward, but it's almost kind of awkward. You know what I mean? Like, you start off and you can see that they're kind of, pitter pattering like the ball and like not, giving it their all. I don't know if this happens like as much anymore, but it definitely did over like the last 5 or 6 years when I was younger.
Right.
But you can tell kind of like what they're playing, not playing their game that they would give somebody else. And then like say you beat them a game, and then their whole demeanor changes, like everything changes, and then you just you kind of feel like awkward. I'm like, I don't even like, I want to still win, but now I just feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
And then you win, and then they're all mad about it because they know that they didn't give you their best game from the get-go, and they're regretting it.
What's the worst reaction someone has had to you pummeling them? What have they done?
I've had people, I don't know if this started with them underestimating, but I've had people just like totally give up to where they just like totally give up, even attempting to like do a pass or a shot, just like ready and just sit, and then or just like not even put their hand on the bar, and then just like wanting it to be over. Right. And it's like, it's just, I don't know, not a good time.
Yeah. Well, I think it's only fair that if we should ask Mark the same question. How do you feel about beating somebody who underestimates you, Mark? Guys.
Well, let me see. How do I feel about someone underestimating? I will say this. Let me start back a little bit. When I used to wrestle in high school, and there was a really good girl wrestler, and I was terrified of wrestling her. I didn't want, and so I would talk. I'm just gonna be honest. I would talk like I was talking amongst the guys, and I would say, if I ever have to wrestle her, I'm gonna smash her. Oh. I'm gonna smash. There was a lot of testosterone, but I'm not gonna let. And I was so grateful I never had a wrestler. And it wasn't because. I don't know. Like, just call it what you want. I was 15 years old.
You don't want to win, and you don't want to lose.
I didn't want to lose. I didn't want to lose. She was good.
Win, it's like you kind of feel bad, and then if you lose, you feel bad.
Maybe wrestling's a little bit different because it's a typically, I don't know, maybe it's not different at all. It's funny, you're asking me, how do I feel? But playing someone who underestimates me, I'm typically the underdog, so I'm always underestimated. So it's a miracle when I win. I've been practiced for 30 years, so I don't know if I don't know if it necessarily applies to me. I guess the other way is more true. It's very rewarding beating someone because I'm always the underdog, unless it's the first round of open singles and I got a rookie and there's a fire in my loins because I know I'm going to win. And that's it.
Where does this phrase come from? This phrase, I've never heard you say this, fire in your loins.
It's from Ron Burgundy, I'm sure.
I see. Okay.
Something that Will Ferrell says.
Man. And you had to save it for tonight. Well, thank you so much.
You're the one who asked, how did you feel deep down in the pit of your soul or something? I was like, all right.
All right. I'll take credit on that one.
And, and back to the question, to the author of the question, Linda, I actually wouldn't mind hearing her answer. She could type it out on Facebook or in the thread, but I've seen Linda break some hearts on the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can imagine. And even if they're Canadian, I'm sure they're not very nice about it. So, just kidding. But no, it's so. Here's a good one I think is interesting. It's in the same vein. Mike Gentian wants to know, which guys do you enjoy kicking butts of the guys the most? Which men players do you enjoy beating the most?
Mike.
Mike, yes, there you go.
No, not Uncle Mike. Me and Liz have one.
Okay.
Not that it's not that we like. It's just like an ongoing thing.
A rivalry.
Yeah. Go ahead, Midori. This one's you.
So Kevin Romero always says that we are his nemesis every time that we play in pro doubles, because I think that we and I don't know why, because like he's such a player, it's like he would beat either of us in singles, more than likely, but we're me and play him in doubles together, we just always win.
Interesting.
Where's a piece of wood? I'm gonna knock on some wood just so that.
And every time we play him, he goes, "You give me nightmares."
Nightmares. Really? Okay, Liz.
Gosh, I can't think of anyone.
I thought you were going to say your husband.
Specific. No. I mean, I guess the most satisfying wins would just be the ones against people who are just crappy about
so you can't touch it right on the outside.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're so just people that don't have a good attitude about it.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, I can't think of anything right now, but
all right. Well, we have a caller for you guys. Two-Gun, are you here? Two-Gun, welcome to FooTalk Live. Are you with us?
Please tell me you found out what Project WBY is. Not yet. He's filing.
Tell him to ask Tommy Adkisson It's got to be Tommy, and he doesn't know he called in, and so he's watching like I don't know ER. I don't know what this guy's
That's
watching.
what it sounds like. We're being.
Tell him to ask his son how to work his phone.
Yeah.
Gavin. Just ask Gavin. He'll show you.
His TV is live right now. Yeah, his television is on the air. Oh, well, there we go. Call ended. Okay. Well, all right. We'll get back to Two-Gun shortly. You guys ready for another question?
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Here's a good one. This is a four-parter, but it's Tanya Marie, and she wants to know who influenced your game the most. That's part one. Liz, you want to handle that one first?
Sure. I mean, gosh, I had so many influential players because I grew up in Tampa. I grew up where Midori is in that area. So I grew up with Tom Yor and with Bobby Diaz, with Johnny Horton, and a whole handful of other local players that weren't necessarily tour players, but just the local foosball scene in Tampa, Florida in the late 80s, early 90s. Anybody who played consistently and locally at those tournaments were my biggest influence.
Okay.
I mean, had I not had that group of people playing the game and watching them play and learning from them, I wouldn't have had the career. Yeah.
Here's a more specific question then. Let's say you used one game to model your game from. Who would that be?
I don't think I can use just one player.
So it's a variety of
I've been told that my stance kind of looks like Tom yours, a little bit Horton-esque.
Okay.
As well. I don't think it's like that now so much. I think I've changed a little bit over the years, but I would say those two if you want to mimic, a couple of top names.
Okay. And Midori, what about you?
Oh man, mine's kind of similar to Liz. Like I could never just choose, when I started playing, because I was around it at such a young age, I wasn't playing like with the intention of trying to develop a really strong game. I was just a kid playing foosball. And like there wasn't a reason that I chose to do like a certain shot or a certain pass or whatever it was, or to do it a certain way. Like I was just trying to pass the ball and then I was just trying to shoot the ball.
Gotcha.
So as I was like learning growing up, I wasn't necessarily influenced by anyone. So I would say over like the last maybe 3 or 4 years, my game has been influenced more because I'm more aware of the way people do things. And I'm like, oh, I see the way that they do that. And that's really deceptive. So I need to make my passes look more like that. And taking little bits and pieces from a bunch of people's game that I think would suit the game that I already had.
Okay.
So I mean, it's kind of the same as Liz. So it's like the people I played around in Florida definitely subconsciously influenced my game, but I didn't knowingly develop my game from any specific person.
Oh, gotcha. I think that makes sense. I mean, it's certainly everybody's got a little bit to offer, especially when you talk about the top players. The top 5 or 6 world masters, this kind of thing. They've all got something to offer, and there's always something little to learn, something nuanced that maybe you didn't notice in other players. But yeah, very cool.
So Liz, I know why you like pull shot is an easy choice for you, Liz, because that was the prominent, dominant shot when we started playing. Midori, why a pull shot for you?
No, like I don't ever remember making the conscious decision where it's like, all right, you have to choose your shot now. Like you have to make this decision. I think it was just maybe the natural, it felt natural, or it seemed like the natural thing to do. I don't know, because it's strange, because a lot of kids, I feel like when they first start playing, a push is the most natural for them to start to learn. And then they either stick with it or change to a different shot, and that becomes their primary shot. But that was just, I don't ever remember trying to learn a different shot and then see which one fit me best. Like I just only remember ever trying to shoot a pull shot, but I don't remember why.
Okay.
Oh, this is shaping up to be
it just must have felt natural. I don't know.
Midori, you black out in the finals and you win every time, and you didn't choose your shot. You're just guided by an unearthly force. And I think we need to figure out this supernatural being that makes choices for you.
You might be onto something.
Yes. Use the force.
Yeah.
So, okay. Part 2 of Tanya's question. Do you play better or worse with music? Liz?
It doesn't matter to me, really. I can play with both.
Okay.
Sometimes I do notice when the music isn't on, like if I'm in a finals match or I'm in a match, I might be like, okay, somebody needs to plug some music in or put the mic on the radio, but it doesn't matter really. I'm not going to wear earbuds. I'm not going to listen to music necessarily with earbuds, but if the tournament room has music, it's not distracting and it doesn't necessarily make me play better.
Okay. And Midori?
I guess as long as nothing's atrocious that's playing, like as long as it's not just like the worst music ever, like I don't care either. As long as it's not like yodeling or something, I feel like I never noticed one way or the other either. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I haven't paid too much attention. Maybe if it's like something you're really like to get you grooving. I don't know.
Right.
Midori, you just offended all the Scandinavian foosball countries with your projection of yodeling.
Hang
Oh,
on.
I'm so sorry. Maybe
I
it's
stand-
maybe it's great. Maybe it's great. I don't know that much yodeling. Maybe I need to expand myself. I don't.
You can't recover from everything, okay?
Right.
Hashtag
Maybe it's
yodeling
great. Maybe
rules.
it's great.
Yeah.
Maybe I've never heard a good yodeler.
Hashtag
know. I
save
don't care.
yodeling.
Music or
Yodeling.
no music,
It
I
can
don't care.
be. It can be. Applied in a proper dose. Like there was a hit record back in 1971 from a band called Hocus Pocus. They did band was called
Good
Focus, but
Lord.
they did Hocus
What is
Pocus,
happening right now?
and they yodeled through that song. They did. They honestly yodeled. So, and it was
Maybe
a hit
it's
record.
good. That was just the first thing that popped in my head. I'm not trying to offend yodelers.
You just ruined yodeling for so many people.
Oh, I didn't mean for it to go this far.
I just downloaded my first yodeling album, by the way. It was today. It was today.
Nice.
I
Talk
don't
about
believe
timing.
you.
Talk about
Oh,
timing.
No.
You're the worst.
No.
So here's a suggestion from Clay Toomey, who's not feeling very well tonight, but he does have enough strength to let us know that he thinks you should name your team No Yodeling.
Sold.
There you
We'll
go.
do it.
That would be a good T-shirt. I'd wear it.
No Yodeling.
For sure.
You
But it
ever
has to be in glitter.
Yes, and only in the finals.
Right.
If you ever did that, I'd name a team Yodelers Are Us, and we'd have to go to war.
Oh,
We'd have to.
Oh, man.
Yes.
This is intense. This is a
We're
lot
losing
more,
our minds.
Yeah, this is a lot more intense than I thought it was going to be.
This is
What
what
happened-
happens when Jim is
That's
on
right.
the podcast.
That's right.
Yes.
The wheels fall off the wagon.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, Jim, that you had a birthday.
Yes.
This to
Yeah,
happen.
he's missing out,
Yes.
man. He's missing out. He's going to have to listen to the
Oh, my
download, I guess.
God.
Okay, so here's another one. Now, of course, I think this should be a personal preference, but the question is, should headphones be legal during competition? So, question for you, Midori, what do you think?
I mean, I guess what is the issue with it in the first place? Like people coaching or something? Like why? I don't
Yeah.
even know why they're illegal in the first place.
Right, that would be the only thing I could think of. That
That's
maybe
the only
they're
thing
getting.
that I can
yeah,
think of.
right.
I mean, I personally wouldn't ever want to play with headphones in because I feel like I'm not aware of
Focused.
my actual like surroundings. I don't know. I feel like I'm not in the like I don't know. I need to hear the ball hit the tin and I don't know.
Yeah.
All the things that are
Yes.
associated with you know the best part. You know, it's like when you're watching a foosball video, like when you're watching live streaming and there's no sound.
Yep.
It just makes it so much like less enjoyable.
Boring.
So that's how I feel in real life too. But if other people like to listen to music in their headphones while they're playing, like I don't see why not. Besides, the only thing I can think of is the whole coaching while they're playing thing.
Right. Okay. Well, it
And I
says
don't
here.
know how much of an issue that is or ever was. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, it says that it's legal to wear headphones in the IFPA
Oh,
tourney,
it is?
IFP tourneys. So, okay,
See, I
it
know
is
the
legal.
rules.
But I mean, I've seen people do it. I'm not quite sure either. I would like to hear what's going on, especially if somebody calls a timeout. Of course, you can't necessarily see them sometimes, but you should be able to.
There was so headphones. I understand this as a story. Someone could correct me. Someone was coaching one time. I don't care. I mean, quarterbacks in the NFL have headset. They can talk to the coach through their headset. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry,
right?
With $1 million quarterbacks. Who cares?
Yeah, that's
Let
kind of
people
what
wear
I was
headsets.
thinking too. Like, I don't care. Yeah, I don't know. And
Yeah.
Plus, it's one time that you know of. It could have been more than that. But
Sure. Well, there's all kinds of controversies when it comes to interpreting signals in baseball. Learning what the signals are for the opposing team and watching their signals, and it's like, okay, enough already. Whatever it takes. It's a little bit much, but anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've settled that issue. All right, so here's a good one for you. And this comes from Adam Gilson, our good buddy Adam, wants to know, what is the best weekend tournament diet? So, Liz, you want to handle that one?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, sometimes it's like, when do you have time to eat? For me, I cannot have a heavy stomach
right
before a match. So I really have to be careful what I pick and choose to eat. So it's lightly. That's what I have to say. I'm not a donut person. I'm not a sweets person.
Mm-hmm.
Midori, I hear that you like pancakes, but
in Denny's,
I have to keep it light. when I compete.
Yes.
I save the pancakes for 3 a.m. I'm not eating them
Okay.
like before my finals
Right.
or anything.
Gotcha.
So
But yeah,
what-
same. I mean, same thing for me. I'm more of like I eat small portions of things throughout the day because you don't want you need to maintain some sort of energy because it is
Right.
exhausting and it's like they're long days and
Oh.
the matches are long and sometimes it's like when do you have time to eat? You just have a granola bar in your bag and just eat it in 2 seconds and you just carry on with your day. And then if you're going to have a little more of a break, eat more of a substantial meal.
Well,
but I mostly just munch throughout the day, and then I wait till 3 a.m. to go to Denny's and eat pancakes.
Right,
and then,
right.
And I also munch ibuprofen.
Oh, really? Wow.
On a regular basis.
Man.
So
a guy like me, and Liz knows this firsthand, I'm usually out of the tournament by Saturday at 3:00. So I will eat a box of Ho-Hos. I don't really care. I'll eat anything. But honestly, the other side of that is in the 90s, there were plenty of ideology and commitment to not eating at all. And so big winners like Todd Lafredo, Tom Spear, Robert Morris, Scotty Weidman, they fasted. They didn't eat any meals.
How do you do that?
I fasted for 48 hours before easily. I probably fasted for 3 days before. And so there's this idea of high testosterone, high adrenaline. And Todd would tell you that it was a literal and figurative hunger. So when Todd was playing, and I watched him win open doubles world championships as a forward after not eating for 3 days. And his idea, and you guys heard me talk about this in the show multiple times, he wanted to be literally and figuratively hungry in that finals match. And there was no loss in energy. There was no weakness. There was no dizziness. He knew that at the end of winning that match, he was going to have a meal. And the meal, what was standing between him and the meal was Rednicky and Everson. And so he steamrolled those guys, just crushed them. And then he got to have his meal. He got to get his paycheck. He got his trophy. He got his jacket, world championship, and his meal.
Now there's a payoff. Yeah, absolutely.
Payoff for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. That's intense. Yeah, I can't imagine. I just, anyway, that whatever works for you, right? That's the main thing. That's the best diet. Whatever works. Okay.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's push on to something how about this one from Jacob Tom? Is there a difference in mentality that you take when playing against women versus men? So is there a different way you look at the game if you're playing two different the different genders? And
Liz, you go first.
Yes.
What's that? You want me to go first?
Yep.
Okay. So for me, yes and no. So mentality, not so much. I mean, because I just want to win. But you do have to change reflexes, and I'm gonna kind of take from something I heard Billy say years ago. You have to know your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when you play lady players, we execute differently. Even the top lady players, even the best of us that have smoking shots, we just do things differently. So that's something that I would take into consideration when I play a lady player. But and that's just minor changes. Like I'm not going to use the same zone for Ryan Moore.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I have a zone for Ryan Moore.
Who does?
As I would against Midori, or another female goalie or in a doubles match. You're just going to do things a little bit differently. So strategy wise and how I position men, maybe zoning, those types of things would change. But mentality wise, no. The goal is always to win.
I love it. Midori?
Yeah. Yep. Basically going off what Liz said. That's why I wanted her to go first.
Sure.
But yeah, mentality is always to win no matter who you're playing. But yeah, it's kind of just like to see there is something different. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's kind of just like to see what they're capable of and then go from there. Like I'm going to, maybe cheat. Like if I don't want to generalize all women can't do a full dead bar long from their 2-bar, but, and I'm not saying all guys can do that either. But sometimes women have like more of a spray shot, then a lot of the guys try and hit it more square, which is not always the case. Like me and Liz have totally different pull shot styles. So I can't generalize, but just kind of set up of what you either know of that player or what you think will be a good starting place to start adjusting from there as you go throughout the match. If you don't know that player already and what they're kind of capable of.
So in answer to the question, I mean, both of you basically kind of change on the fly. So it's not a mentality you bring to the game for a different gender, but just basically changing up if you have to.
Yeah,
and I would definitely
is just to win is the mentality the same throughout both.
Yeah, if you don't know your opponent, you're not going to know the game of every single player that you do play. So just based off of what Midori said, I mean, sometimes you just have to let them show you what they're capable of first.
Right.
You're not going to just let them have the easiest shot or a straight or leave a gaping middle right off the bat. You're going to make them show you what they're capable of. Same thing on the 5. You're not going to give them a wall every single time. Like, do you have an up? Do you have a stick? Can you catch it?
Find those things out first.
Those are the things you kind of have to look for if you don't know who you're playing.
Tom, you'll often find it's a recurring story over and over. A lot of master players will frequently lose the first game against any level player.
Okay.
Now they'll lose the first, not intentionally. They're seeing what the other person has, and the other person starts off hot. It's someone they've never seen before, be a rookie or amateur. Oftentimes, the master is so good that the rookie loses a 4-4 game, and then that's as close as they ever got because the master figured out their entire game in the first swing.
Interesting.
Depending on where the master is playing and have they been practicing, they'll drop that first game and then win 3 straight. 99% of the time, they're going to win that match after dropping the first game.
Wow.
And they might drop the 4th game and then win. That's you get a lot of 3-1 scores for one reason or another. And oftentimes it's just the master figuring out what this person can do and can't do.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, there's a follow-up question from Jacob. He wants to know, with so many, with so few women in the sport, what was it that made you want to play and stick with it? And that goes to Liz first.
Sure. I don't know that I have a great answer for that. I just think it takes a specific personality, and I don't know what that is exactly, to be able to stick with the game and accept the abuse and the just the long term. It just takes a long time to really get good. And so obviously you have to love the game. You have to love the game. You have to appreciate the nuances of the game, the eye-hand coordination, the strategy, the physical part of it, physical execution. And you have to be able to be okay with getting beat up for a long time.
Okay.
Whatever that is inside of each of us who continue to play all the time, that's what it takes.
Oh, yeah. Well, we had something similar to this last time we played this game of, Ask Me Anything. And the question came up of, there are certain people who play DYPs who play every week for years and never really get much further than just a local DYP. And somebody wanted to know, well, why do they bother? How about because we love the game?
Because you love the game. Yeah.
So Midori, you got something you want to add to that?
Yeah, for me, it was like never, okay, I'm going to play foosball. That's what I'm going to do. And that's what I'm going to get good at. Because if it was like that, I would have picked golf and I would have made a lot more money, possibly. I don't know. I don't know if I was going to be good at golf, but I could have been. And I was just around it. So I played. And that was kind of like all I ever knew through, like my young childhood, and then continued until now I'm an adult, and it was like I still play. So it's like obviously there's something keeping me around, and it's like I love the competition, I love the people. It's like most of the people I know, it's like I've been friends with my whole life, and so it's just a part of me. It's just what I do, and I never thought, do I want to keep playing this? It's what I do.
Got it. Really.
You know what? I want to play into that answer too, because it's very at the heart of it. I don't think it's different why men or women stay obsessed with the game, and I think it evolves over time. I think initially foosball attracts certain personalities. Not that a wide, diverse group of people don't love foosball, but we spoke to this before. There's something about getting good at foosball that's a really detail fixated personality, at least with the foosball. I mean, to get good at foosball, you got to have the position of the ball a certain distance behind the bar to get good brush passing, and then you got to do it over and over and over and be consistent. All the little detail speaks to an addictive, obsessive type of personality. I think all foosers share that get to a high level share that. But I think what happens, interestingly, over time, I kept going to foosball tournaments. I wasn't even competitive. As a matter of fact, at some point, I wasn't even competing. I'm more self-deprecating than I need to be. I've always been pretty competitive. But the point is, it's the community, right? At some point, even if you start evolving away from the competitiveness and you're not winning, then you're coming around because of your friends and your family. And it is a small, intimate group of people you built relationships with. And that's why, I don't think that's any different for men or women. That's all I have on that.
Okay. No, I think these are all valid points. And I think we kind of knew these things, but it's always good to hash them out and kind of get that out in the open for sure. So here's another question. This comes from Dan and Sandy Luaris. And this one is for Liz directly. Women in foosball are scarce and deserve recognition. We all know that. Is there a person in charge of public relations that helps to involve potential sponsors and or media for community involvement? Do you know of anybody like that, Liz?
No, but my hope has always been that will happen someday. So no, initially is my answer on the public relations. I am encouraged by the growth of female players, just all over. The female player base has definitely grown, I think. And actually, I don't even have anything to base that off of. It's just there were a lot of female players, it seemed like, back when I was playing, and then it kind of died off. But it just seems like more and more lady players are showing up and playing now. So I'm hoping that growth will continue.
Yes.
And with that growth, maybe someone can step up and do some promoting and get more, get the female player base a little more view, if you would, for lack of a better word. I really don't even know how to put that.
Well, it sounds like a job description for you, right?
Maybe.
Vote Liz.
I'm putting my vote in right now. Okay. Now here's another question to follow up with Dan and Sandy. Do you have a specific set of requirements that young female players can work towards that qualify them for team consideration?
Is that for me or is that for Midori?
Oh, that's a question for
Either
Liz.
one.
You're the captain.
Either one.
Okay, so the team stuff is complicated because it's objective and subjective as far as selection goes. I think when Rob Mares was on the show, he kind of touched on that a little bit. But what I can tell Sandy, because I know she works with the younger foosball population, which is awesome, is that you have to play a lot and you have to hit the tour stops and you have to put in your time.
Yes.
Team USA is a big deal, and Team USA is the cream of the crop. Not just the cream of the crop of whoever's winning the most tournaments that year. It is you're building a resume, basically. So what's your experience on the other tables? That used to not be a factor, but it is now. Do you have access to these other tables? What have you been winning? Are you a team player? How do you get along with your teammates, and how are you going to complement your teammates? Because it's not, nobody's the star, right?
Right.
We all have a role to play.
Can't be
so in growing, that's what they have to do, is just play. Do
you know of anyone in the past over the last 30 years who has been considered a diva in women's foosball?
Well, I mean, the great Cindy Head.
Well, she's pretty down to earth though. I mean, as far as divas go, right? She's pretty mellow. Although when she plays, she's not.
She's pretty mellow. I don't know, Midori, what do you think?
I don't know.
No diva?
See how I passed that over to her?
Johnny Horton.
Johnny Horton. He was a diva.
Oh, for sure. Hey, I remember playing as a young person at Johnny Horton. Johnny was raised by his grandmother, so we used to go over and play at his house. He'd be like on house arrest, have the, the ankle
Literally?
thing on.
He had an ankle bracelet?
But, like, we would still go over there and play, and I would just like be a sponge. Like, how is this guy? I mean, how does he do this? It's always on. There's no off button. Anyway, sorry. Let's carry on.
No. I think that's valuable information. I like that. Going to his grandmother's house, and he had an ankle bracelet on the whole time. That's great. That's good stuff.
But it was in the 90s. It was one of those huge ones, wasn't it? It was gigantic, like a beeper on your ankle.
Right.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
You couldn't miss him. You couldn't miss him, man. It's like,
see what you missed out on, Midori.
Yeah.
I have a Midori story.
Okay.
She probably doesn't remember this, but just to kind of give you a little bit of history on why she's so great now. Like, we all knew she was going to be a champion when she was young. So my two oldest kids were under the age of 5, I think, and I visited Midori's house one summer. We all like swam, and I don't know, how old were you, like 10, 12, Midori? Do you remember
12. Yeah, I do.
And she had a table at her house, and she played great foosball at 12.
Really?
And there was a conversation that was had there that year at 12 years old that she was probably going to be a world champion someday. And here we are.
Wow, that's interesting. So you guys made predictions back then, huh?
You never.
I guess
told
we did
me that.
Yeah.
Well, you've grown up enough now. You should know that's how they were talking about you back in those days.
Yep.
The truth can be told now. We can reveal. We didn't want you to get too much of an ego, but
There you go.
When I was 12, I was shoplifting Transformers from Toys R Us. So that goes to show where I was headed. I was like, had
I'll
the same one too.
Doing those things at 12. Just because I played good foosball doesn't mean I wasn't shoplifting from Toys R Us.
I was a Toys R Us kid.
Milk and cookies.
I mean, I was
milk and
doing
cookies. What happened? Wait a second.
You don't know that I wasn't.
Mark, you just can't. You're not going to win here. Just don't even try. So, okay. Well, okay, Midori, something specific for you from Carla Wolverton. Carla has a great question. For many years, open mixed doubles was a prestigious event and followed the same match rules as open singles and open doubles. And it was the first event played in open events starting at prime time, not late evening. Can we ever get back to this? And if so, your thoughts on getting there?
Yeah. This could be a long one.
Okay.
So when I first started playing tournaments, I thought of open mixed as a main event, and I thought that that's how everybody thought of open mixed. And I think back then it was more of consistently a 3 out of 5 double elimination, or at least double elimination. I don't know about the 2 out of 3, 3 out of 5, but I know it was more consistently always a double elimination event, like when I started playing it.
Okay.
And so like that was one of, the goals that I had was, women's singles, women's doubles, open mix. And I don't know, I guess as like throughout the years, it's like, I don't even know if it is a main event, because sometimes it's single elimination, sometimes it's double elimination, sometimes it starts at 10 p.m., sometimes it starts at noon, So it's like, I don't even know what to think of it sometimes, because I grew up thinking that it was supposed to be treated as an open event. And that's how everyone viewed it. But now it's like, I don't know. And it comes down to like a lot of different things. But
it seems to be, is it less prestigious now?
It seems like it, because it's not, something that's done when they do the open finals. And it's not something that's, a lot of people have an issue with the whole single elimination. And I think it was Maxine that said the Swiss system might be like a fix for that. If it's going to be single elimination, at least do it in the Swiss format, so that those people that are playing feel like they're getting their money's worth of playing, because a lot of the women that play are doing it for experience, and it's not cheap, and to just throw away however much money it costs to enter, and then get to play one match and you're out. It's single elimination.
Yeah, very true.
So I like the Swiss format. It's a single elimination thing because you get to play all those qualifying rounds. But then is that going to make the event take that much longer because you have to play all those qualifying rounds and it's getting people to the table for each of those rounds? So I don't know how practical that would fit into USA tournaments with how they tend to kind of run long and run behind.
Yeah, right. There's another issue.
But I do like the Swiss style, the way like that's all run. You get your play time in and your warm up, and you feel like you're getting like practice and experience, and then it turns into a single elimination. But you already have like 8 rounds of qualifiers that you played at that point. So as far as it getting back, I don't know. They added it at World Cup as they added it as an event at World Cup in 2019, which was the first time that it was an event. So, I mean, I think that's a step in the right direction for people, to take it seriously. So because they want to qualify and they want to play it when they go to World Cup.
Yeah. I mean, that's certainly something to be considered and to raise the prestige of that event. I mean, that would be a good idea. Well, we've got another call coming in on FooTalk Live. We're being joined by Two Gun. So Two Gun, welcome to FooTalk Live. Can you hear us?
I can.
So how are you? And
I'm doing good.
Yes. So we know your moniker. What's your actual name?
My name's Tommy Adkisson.
Tommy, welcome to FooTalk Live.
How's it going?
Tommy, what's up, man?
What's up, Mark?
Can we get you on again within the next couple of weeks? Can we get you on here?
Maybe.
We got him on
all
here.
Right,
maybe.
All right. Anyway, what's your question or what's your comment, brother? Sorry.
I just wanted to comment on mixed doubles.
Yes.
I know there's the big stigma that most of the masters don't care about mixed and all that bullshit. But it's just that, Tony cares about mixed. Ryan cares about mixed. I know I do. Why can't we have a 3 out of 5 at the World Championships at least?
Right.
Yep.
I think there's a major consensus. Now, is it something that over time it's lost its luster? I mean, what's happened?
I can't tell you. I think it's the promoter.
Okay, got it.
It's that simple. She doesn't think it's that important. Well, I think she's wrong.
Liz, what do you think?
I think open mixed doubles is definitely not a novelty event. It is an open event. If you actually took the time to watch some of the open doubles matches or open mixed matches, pardon me.
Yes.
It's just as exciting and just as intense as open doubles matches. I've watched some 3 out of 5 matches or 2 out of 3 matches recently. 3 out of 5 was a long time ago. But you're talking about players who are wanting to win in this event, just like they want to win open doubles and just like they want to win open singles. It used to be a big deal. I think the problem is that women have been blamed for clogging up events and charts and all that. And so all of a sudden you have open mixed dropping down to 2 out of 3. You have the payouts dropping, but you have a big field. You still have a big field. So really, I would implore the players to petition to the promoters, not just on the national level, but the state tournaments too, because the state tournament directors are just as guilty, to make it an open event as it was designed to from the beginning. I do want to comment real quick on the Swiss system. I'm all for the Swiss system. I think the Swiss system is great.
Yes.
I've been a fan of it for many, many years, but you don't just implement it for open mixed doubles. If you're going to do Swiss, you do Swiss. Open doubles, open singles,
Did
open
you
mixed.
call down there and get the...
You don't just pick and choose.
No, it's I got to say, from my own perspective as a player, I really enjoy mixed. But I'm sorry, but I also enjoy the Swiss system. I think that is to me is a great way to go because everybody plays with everybody, and one person can't just say I'm getting stuck with the beginner and feel like they have no chance of winning. So that takes all that out of it, which I think the Swiss system is really good for sure.
And I recall, Tommy.
Go ahead.
Is
please.
Tommy still on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I remember a year that Tommy won the World Championships at Open Mix. He was playing with Gina. Tommy, tell me if I'm wrong. Did you talk Steve out of Gina that year?
Nah, I never won a mixed with Gina at the Worlds.
You
The
didn't
mixed
win
that
okay, I'm trying to think of, was it Karen?
mixed was the last World Championship that I won, and that was with Kathy.
Okay.
That was the last one for me to win. Then I won the next time I went with Christina.
Yeah. Yeah.
30 years, no mixed championship.
Matches that are.
And then
Sorry,
2 in a row.
I have to go on about how intense those matches are and how awesome they are to watch and to watch the level of foosball being played in open mixed doubles, because you're not only having to deal with the male forwards, but then you have the strong female players that have a little bit of different temperature on the table, but all the more lethal at the same time. Anyway, I'm done.
Yeah. No, it's
sorry.
It needs to be talked about. It clearly needs to be talked about. There's no doubt about that. And
I want to put the elephant in the room, though, you guys. There's the elephant in the room. And Tommy, I hear you. You say that Ryan respects it, and Tony respects it. You respect it. The harsh reality is that open mixed is viewed as a asterisk open event. And the proof is in even consideration for the Hall of Fame. Consideration is major wins in open singles and open doubles is the high qualifier that gets discussed. That's the reality.
Okay, Mark.
Open mixed world championships are currently not being viewed as Hall of Fame contenders, so that an open singles win at the Nationals in '95 has more prestige than 5 open mixed world championships.
Wow.
It's just part of the reality of what the dialogue is like behind the scenes. Now, I don't speak for the Hall of Fame committee. I'm not on the Hall of Fame committee, but I do hear the discussion amongst Hall of Famers. I hear it. And it's not with the greatest respect for open mixed. The format is one thing, and maybe the format plays into that. Maybe it's just as much conflict with women. But the other piece, too, is it's not appreciated as on par with open singles, open doubles. That attitude needs to change as well.
Well said.
Am I
Mark.
still here?
Well said. No, you kind of take the air out of the room, but that was well said. And so, Tommy, any other comments you'd like to make about this topic?
I'd like to respond to Mark's.
Yeah,
please do.
So the reason that it's not considered for the Hall of Fame is because it's not as prestigious as it was in the 70s and even into the mid and late 80s. It still was.
Okay.
If it was still viewed that way, it would be considered. So if we take away the 2 open singles that Terry Moore won at the Worlds, does he make the Hall of Fame?
Mm-hmm.
Probably, man. Just because of all the old open doubles titles, probably. But
only 1 World Open doubles, 5 or 6 mixed.
Yeah, that's significant.
Because he had Stephanie putting that thing in when he got choky.
But he's not as good at. There's other examples too. How about someone like Fernando? Well, that's not a good example. Let's leave that example out entirely. I don't even have a good example, man. I can't think of someone who's.
I got one for you, and he's in the Hall of Fame. Don Swan.
Don Swan.
Yeah, Don Swan. That's an example.
He's got 1 mixed doubles title at the Worlds.
Interesting.
Is he Hall of Fame material? Absolutely. Yeah.
Especially the legend.
Yeah, but by that criteria, though, there's a whole bunch of people. Like Scotty Weidman should be in there. Gus Trevino.
Scotty Weidman will go in. Trevino will go in. There's a few people they've missed,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Daniel Smith will go in. Yeah. There's 3 I can tell you that have been overlooked.
Well, it sounds like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Doobie Brothers being snubbed all these years.
I think you guys have your next.
It's tough. There's so many good people.
Yeah, I think so. The Hall of Fame, damn it. And of course, Jim,
to be frank, man, there's all kinds of politics. It's just an odd bird, man. This is its own episode. The politics of the Hall of Fame, because then we get into questions like, should Don Swan have been in before Scotty and before Gus and before Daniel Smith and there's at least a half a dozen other people at least that had.
I can't believe you put Tracy in before Daniel. You know?
I don't know, man. What about someone who has a bunch of open mix wins like Joy Stewart?
Absolutely.
Just
There's no doubt. There's no doubt Joy should be considered for sure.
So I don't want to get into not having firsthand knowledge. I don't know how these decisions are made and what chronology, but and I love Don Swan in the Hall of Fame, don't get me wrong, but then how many people by pedigree and actually winning resume should have been in before that? That's an episode unto itself, you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're doing some research here, and we got it. So, Tommy, first of all, you have any other things that you'd like to talk to Liz and the Midori about? And I'm curious.
Yeah, I just got one thing to say.
Okay.
No Swiss system.
No Swiss.
No.
Come on, Tommy.
Who needs the meaningless warm-up matches and then to get to play one match against someone that is of a competition and maybe lose and you're done?
Okay.
Nah.
All right.
If we called it the Oklahoma system, would it make you happier? Would you embrace it?
No, it would help a little bit though.
I would rather do 2 out of 3.
And I don't care who I just pissed off.
I'm not saying that I don't like double elimination. I'm just saying if you're going to do one event in the Swiss system, you got to do it.
Right.
Oh, I see.
You got to do what?
Got to do them all. Do one, you got to do them all.
How about just make those guys qualify to get into the tournament? Start with your 8 or 16 seeds and let them play to get in, and then do a single elimination.
There's an idea too. That's got some merit as well. Absolutely. Well, this could be debated as well in another show. We've got another idea here, Mark. So
let's scribble it down. We'll get to it.
Yep, I'm putting it down on the list.
All right, guys, I'm gone.
Tommy, it's great talking to you, man. Let's have you back sometime soon.
Yeah, I'm going to message you, Tommy, about getting on here and talking some trash for like 90 minutes. That's a big decision.
Not me, Mark. I don't talk trash, buddy. You know that.
That's not Tommy.
He takes the trash out. Tommy takes the trash.
It's not my style. All right, we'll see you guys later.
All right, Tommy. Thank you for joining us on FooTalk Live, man. Awesome. Great to hear from Adkisson. So, okay, guys. So, Liz and Midori, you are definitely the magnet that draws out the big names here. There's no question about that. Are you still with us?
Midori wrote a message that said, "How much longer I have to go pee?" So maybe she's pretending. Liz, you're still there, right? Because Midori apparently is going pee right now.
Liz? I think
Liz is like,
all right, well, this is a good time for me to hop on in here.
Please, save us now.
Just a quick note to say that the private chat is private for a reason. You're on a temporary ban from the private chat, sir.
Liz sent me a text that Liz crashed and Midori's in the bathroom. So let me just jump back on.
Well, they might have gone together, dude. I mean, I don't.
Oh yeah,
that tends to be the case. That tends to be the case. Yeah, absolutely.
And people don't realize an hour and a half is a long time to go, without going. So.
Right. Well, you're talking to a guy who's aged, and when you get to be my age, I mean, well, I won't get into it.
Tom, do you need a break?
I'm
Mark
good.
and I can give you a break if you need a break.
I'm actually okay. Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You're a pro. See, that's why we call Tom the pro. Tom is the ultimate pro. We have the nickname for Jim. He's the voice of foosball, but
right.
I mean, Tom is the ultimate pro. That's the nickname that I'm sticking by.
So okay, here's
nothing private anymore.
Nothing is private anymore. No. I tried, Midori. I wasn't going to be on tonight, but I
got set up.
Yeah, I see. Well, I can give you a quick anecdote about my days in broadcasting, because we had certain records back in the day because nothing was automated. You just played it off a record, a CD, and most songs were only 3, maybe 4 minutes long. So there's a real challenge if you've got to run from the radio studio all the way to the other end of the building to find the facilities, and then back again before the song runs out. So we'd always choose, especially when things got a little dicey, you'd find a song like Sweet Judy Blue Eyes from Crosby, Stills, Nash. It runs about 7 minutes and 40 seconds. So you could pretty much know that you could get there and back pretty easily before that song ran out.
Midori, now you know better than they have the giant glass of milk and whatever 9 Oreos before the show starts.
Yeah.
Don't do it again. Liz needs to get back out of the channel and come back. She froze up, so she'll be back really soon.
Technically speaking, it happens. And what can you do? We'll hold the ship up here, Mark. I think we can handle it. But Midori, so if the opportunity came, would you play with Tommy Adkisson?
Yeah. Okay. Oh wait, I have a story. What is my story? The first time I ever made money in any event ever at any foosball tournament was with Tommy Adkisson.
Nice. Very cool.
And it was like 3,500 limited or no pro. I think it was 3,500 limited or something like that. I made $25. I was stoked.
Wow.
Was that second place?
No, I think it was third.
How much Tommy?
Third, yeah.
Did Tommy make 350? How did that work out?
Actually, I don't know. That's a good question. I should probably.
Let me tell you how that went. Tommy said, "I'll go get the prize money for you, Midori. You stay right here."
I didn't even think about that until now.
You were 9 and he was like 30. He's like, "You sit right here. I'll be right back."
I was like 10, but that's still a really good question.
Yeah, very good question.
There's no way. All right, Tommy, you have some explaining to do, buddy, because that doesn't sound right.
Oh man. All right.
Man.
Well, okay. So we can actually cover some more questions here because we do have some others. So Midori, you want to field a few more?
Yeah.
Okay. Another one from Dan and Sandy. First of all, why did you choose the pull shot? I think we talked about that earlier, but what is your favorite secondary shot?
I don't really have a secondary shot. I would just say like on the fly type stuff, like tic tacs.
Okay.
Like I don't have like a secondary shot. I mean, like I've attempted to try to learn a rollover that has not gone well. I can occasionally execute it, but it is far from calling it my secondary shot.
Got it.
So I would just say kind of like quick funsy type stuff, but I don't really go away from my pull shot ever.
Well, but your pull shot is so good. And it is as good as most men when it comes to your pull shot. So I can see why you stick with that for sure.
Hope it's stuck around during this year. I don't even know.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you do?
You don't want to pull the cover off one of those tables, Midori, and take a look.
There is no cover. They just collect dust. I'm not responsible enough to have
dust it off, maybe dust a little bit, and then
Yeah, like a Swiffer.
Yeah, there you go.
Swiffer. Does that work? Swiffer?
Or I don't know. You know those duster things.
Yeah. Something like that.
Never mind.
Somebody get in touch with Swiffer so we can get a sponsorship in here.
Right.
I'm getting all kinds of sponsors after today.
Yeah, man. We've got Denny's.
Someone
on board
show Midori
now.
how to dust. Apparently she's never
a feather duster. That's it. A feather duster.
Feather duster.
You know what I meant.
That is so 1990s. So it's now
but they have like the Swiffer one, so it clings to the dust.
Right. It's
I don't know what you're talking
advanced.
about.
do you find do you find it offensive? I got to ask you this question.
We need to help Liz. Liz needs to be back in here.
I think
I'm
Liz
back.
is back.
I'm back.
She's
I'm
back.
back. I was
Okay.
just enjoying listening to the nonsense of
Okay, I couldn't talk
Swiffers and-
about feather dusters anymore to buy you any more time.
I just want to see Midori feather dusting a foosball table.
They need to have
Right.
like a little miniature
What that is.
Zamboni for foosball, like a little
Zamboni.
feather duster, little miniature Zamboni.
Hey, I want to
It's like
drive the
little-
Zamboni. That's what I want to do. That's
Yeah.
my all-time goal.
with Chris Doobie, a little miniature Zamboni
Oh
with Chris
God,
Doobie driving it around.
we
the
were so
foosball table.
close to being back on the rails. So close.
Oh no! Oh no!
So close. Liz,
I gotta mute my mic again, man. I'm out of here.
poor Clay. Clay,
Oh
feel
my
better, man.
God.
Feel better. We definitely appreciate you getting up out of your deathbed here. Yeah, we appreciate
Yes.
My pleasure. Thanks.
that. Yeah.
Hi, Clay.
That was not very enthusiastic, but okay.
Thanks, Clay.
I'm so comfortable.
Clay,
with
don't go
leaning back
anywhere.
in
We're
my
gonna
chair.
need you in like 2 minutes.
Oh, I'll be
We're gonna
here.
need you in like
I'll be
2
here.
minutes. Just stick around.
I'm always at the helm with the old mute button in case y'all get out of hand. So
Well,
as you were.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Now,
Okay.
Liz, that you're back.
Here we are.
We have some international questions we need to answer. Now, this comes from Maxime Blin. And you know Maxime. No, he's a French player, correct?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
he has a question. He has actually two, but the first is, you're dominating the U.S. tour. Would you soon risk coming to Europe to challenge yourself in a World Series on another table? If so, on which table would you do it first?
It cracks me up that he used the word risk.
Liz and then Midori.
I'm so ready. I was ready last year.
Okay.
To go to Leonhardt Worlds. So as far as which table, I would prefer to probably either do a Leonhardt or Garlando tournament. But if like the opportunity was there and it like fit my time schedule and there was some cheap airplane tickets, like I'd go to any of them. Like I'm past like ready. Like I need to go.
Understood.
Midori and I had plans to go to the Leonhardt Worlds, and you know, we were definitely ready to take that on. I too would go to any of them. I actually had the opportunity to go to the Bonzini World Championships with Maryam earlier in the year, and that was hell. Was
it really? Was it?
Just
what
because
did you expect?
I know. Really, it was. I actually didn't have high expectations. I did think that I would do better than I did. I played quite poorly, but I did gather a lot of intel, a lot of experience, and I just love the French players. They're so welcoming, and the tournament was a lot of fun. And it was a great experience, but it is definitely not an easy transition to go from Tornado
Bonzini
to
would
Bonzini.
not be your first choice, or second choice, I should say.
Not to actually compete like that. I have a lot of experience on Bonzini. I've actually had some success on Bonzini in previous World Cups. You know, Christina and I have played a lot of Bonzini matches at previous World Cups. We've won several, but never enough to make it count back in those World Cup years. But yeah, I mean, our game translates better over to the Leo table for sure.
Okay, very cool. And Midori, the next part of this question you can take first. Does the multi-table experience that you had at World Cup improve your Tornado game?
Yeah, I think it just improves your overall game, like adaptability. I just think it does. I mean, as far as maybe like your execution and stuff like that, you just do things a different way on different tables.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's always going to be your best bet for getting that, or for improving on Tornado, is to be practicing on Tornado for like that type of like execution type stuff. But I think any practice is good practice for the most part, and or experience, I guess, especially something like that where you're playing different players, different style. You know, it could be just anything, like the tempo that's different. Just anything that's different is gonna most likely improve your game in some way.
Okay, interesting. Liz?
Yeah, I struggle a little bit going back and forth between tables, just a little bit. If I spend a lot of time on Bonzini or Garlando, I have a Garlando here at my house, and then I switch over back to a Tornado right off the bat. You know, if I'm practicing between the two, the stroke is different on the 3-bar because of the size of the men, the tackiness of the ball. Like those things can kind of be tricky. But I think overall, yeah, it's definitely going to be an improvement because you're just gaining knowledge with the different facets of the tables in the sport of foosball. I mean, you can't not, in my opinion.
Okay. What out of the 5 tables that are used at World Cup, of course, Tornado being one of them, what are the other 4? Which one of the other 4 tables are most similar to Tornado?
Oh, the Italian table for sure.
Okay.
Especially since they changed the men recently.
Yeah, it's a huge difference.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it plays. You can tic tac the ball on that table just like a Tornado. Other than that, I mean, when you say Leo would be next, you don't have the same kind of ball control with Leo because the men are so skinny. Like you'll lose the ball, and sometimes you try to come down and pin the ball, and you miss it.
Oh,
Right,
interesting.
yep.
Okay, yeah. I get you. Wow. So,
but for the closest, yeah.
So, what is of course, the plan? Of course, that we've got this other question here, which I think is kind of broad, but it comes from Dan and Sandy again. They've got some great questions. What are the women's team USA goals for the near future? What are the plans? Midori, you want to try that one first?
Getting to go to a World Cup.
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
say. Like not like, they hold the World Cup, but they're like, USA isn't allowed. Like every other country's allowed except the USA. We don't want them in their Rona. So I don't know. Getting there, I guess, first, and then I guess maintaining like strong teams, just kind of seeing where we're at after all of this. And, it'll, like, I don't know if it's going to be disheveled because like, I don't know. I keep saying this over and over. Like, I don't know. I'm so scared to go back. I mean, I'm so ready to go play again, but I'm so scared that like, I don't know where my game is at, because usually you can kind of keep track of where you're at and like how you're improving and what you need to improve from tournament to tournament. So I kind of know where I fall and, in comparison to everybody else, and like you kind of keep tabs on everybody else as well. Like not just yourself, but like who's been practicing, who gets better, like who you need to look out for in the future. And it's like with this whole, over a year since we've been playing, it's just once everyone gets back to it, it's just like, where are all the pieces going to fall?
You can only predict, right? You can only just say, you can speculate. You can't really know for sure.
Right.
Yeah, that is part of the problem.
I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting.
I could tell you this: the Germans have been practicing with an intense, ferocious hunger.
I know.
You can never imagine. And meanwhile, you're using your foosball tables as coffee plates.
Here we go.
Maybe
Here we
I'm
go.
just saying that.
I don't believe it.
We don't want to tip off that she's actually been playing 15 hours a day here. We don't want to let people know that, because that would be, that would be giving away too much inside secrets there. Yeah. Or something.
Break out that Zamboni. Get Chris Tubey riding that thing around your tables. Let's go. Make it happen.
So, Liz, did you get a chance? You want to chime in on that?
I actually do. I mean, we don't have training centers here. We don't put in the same kind of training that other European teams do. But what I would say is that the team members and the potential candidates just need to stay sharp on Tornado.
Yep.
And then when we get a little bit closer to gathering the troops for World Cup, we just have to focus on training on the other tables, because that is really the biggest factor that transitioned us from being just participants to actual contenders, is the fact that we actually have access to the tables, and almost every Team Cup player had training.
Okay.
So that's what I would say. We don't need to put in the hours in the training centers, and I mean, I don't think we have a training center. Well,
No.
Midori's house is a training center, but
You're welcome.
Makeshift, yeah. No, I can tell you that
So-
I have a good friend nearby who plays in the 518. He is the father of Sammy DeJean, Nino.
yes,
yes.
yes.
And they, in their basement now, have all 5 tables.
Oh yeah, that's a cool.
That's-
room.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
And
So
it's,
we're going to his house.
Yes.
to train,
Okay,
right?
perfect.
We'll meet
So
you
we're
there.
excited.
Yeah.
We'll meet you
Yes.
there. No, it's
They have more tables than me, so
yeah.
And I know I still owe Sam a Frosty because I lost a match. We played for a Frosty. So
Really?
sorry, Sam. We'll get that to you at some point.
Oh, come on. You're supposed to give it to him like on the spot, right? I mean, what's
Yeah,
up with that?
well, there wasn't a Wendy's close by.
I see. Oh, he had to have it from Wendy's? It has to be a Frosty
It's a
from Wendy's?
Frosty.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. I thought maybe there's other varieties, but yeah, just a Wendy's Frosty. Sorry.
Right.
Wendy's they're going to sponsor now too. We got them on board. Okay, so let's see. We're up to Wendy's, Disney, Swiffer. Yep, Swiffer.
Zamboni.
Zamboni. Yeah.
Miniature Zamboni.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm sure
I love-
Wendy's
I love
would
how-
appreciate being connected with not paying debts to minors.
I love it.
Come on
Here
now,
comes the voice of
Clay.
reason.
But
Here comes the voice of reason. Clay is ready with those
When you have a
witticisms.
debt that does not want to be paid, come to Wendy's.
Let me tell you how I lost this match.
Yes.
I've played Sam. I know how you lost it.
No, this is great. I had to stand on his stool
Mm.
and shoot a snake, and he had to stand on the floor and shoot a pull shot.
Oh, really? Wow. Well, you don't take that bet, man. I can tell you.
Yeah,
I've
that
done
was
this-
rough. It
I've
was
been-
rough.
I have the same problem.
Now we're standing on a stool. He's like 6'2", 6'3", right? So it's kind of an advantage at this point.
No.
Is right.
I was 6'3".
Oh,
right.
That's right.
Different angle to the table all of a sudden.
The roller.
Yeah. Well, we've heard excuses before, Liz, but that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. Like that.
Yeah.
I do think it's kind of funny how the European women teams have training centers, and we're like the Mighty Ducks over here practicing the flying V. We can, or like perfect pitch, like the Germans in perfect pitch. It's all like a machine.
It's like dodgeball. They're
yes.
What are we, the purple cobras? They're the purple cobras. We're the average Joes.
If you could dodge a wrench, you could dodge anything.
That's great.
You can dodge a foosball.
Oh man, sometimes things just like Clay was saying, just falls off the rails. But we can pull it back on the rails if you'd like. I have a couple of technical questions I want to throw at you both. Just these are not opinion polls necessarily, but just a quick question from Michael Ham. As a new player, what percentage of time should I spend on each bar, or should I focus on just offense or defense? That's a loaded question. Liz?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Of time? Yeah. I don't know percentage of time, but I would start with, 5-bar, 3-bar. Just, if you can't pass, you can't shoot to score, I guess, kind of thing. And then have just like one or two, you can always expand on your 2-bar, but obviously unless you're going to tournaments and plan on only playing goal. I guess that's a question too. It's like, do you plan on playing singles, or is your goal to just only play goal or what? So that would, I guess, factor into it too. But assuming you're going to play singles and you want to have like a well-rounded game, I guess I didn't start. I started only playing goalie and I had no forward game at all.
Right.
So that kind of came after, but I couldn't play singles, that was the effect of only learning to play goal,
sure.
Which I felt comfortable doing. But then when I started to play singles, I realized like this is not going to work unless I start practicing my 5-bar and 3-bar as well. So I would maybe do that first.
Okay.
Unless you want to get some practice in like only playing goalie and just really work on just like reflexes and, I don't know, that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Liz?
What was the other half of the question?
No, it's just what percentage of time should I spend on each bar? Should I focus on just offense or defense? So I think you answered the question pretty well. With the 5-bar comes first, right? It's all about getting that timing down, being able to ball handle, keeping the ball under control. Make sense?
I think it's just not as fun to people as practicing shooting and scoring,
right?
So I don't know, maybe an equal amount of time between those, as long as your goal is to go somewhere and play singles. Obviously that's a main factor in playing singles.
Sure.
So it's more fun to shoot, I would say. So an equal amount of time between 5-bar and 3-bar.
I like it. Liz?
Yeah, my take on it's a little bit different. I think if you are truly a brand new player, it's beneficial to start off in the goalie position, because your movements are like macro movements back there, and that's where you really learn how to get ball control and your reflexes. You just naturally learn how to move when the ball is coming at you in different directions off the wall, shooting from the 3-bar. You really kind of get an idea of how you should move your men and the angles that the ball comes from. So I think once you get a good understanding of the goalie position, and the other benefit too is oftentimes when you are playing predominantly goalie, you have a forward in front of you, so you can watch what a forward does. So those are more like a 5-bar. They're more micro movements. It's still ball control, but it's a little different. And so I think you established the ball control and understanding how the ball moves in the goalie position, understanding how to move the ball, and then once you get that foundation, then you decide, okay, I'm going to learn how to do a 5-bar. I'm going to learn the 3-bar. I think you'll be a better forward if you have a foundation of being a goalie.
Gotcha.
I think that's the most natural thing to start with as well, is starting in the goalie. But if you're standing like at your table all by yourself and you're bored, most people are trying to shoot to at least, I don't know. I guess if it's different for everybody, like what they enjoy doing, because obviously you want to be enjoying it
Yeah, I think
to
there's the tendency too,
absolutely, yeah,
when you're being, you're practicing on your own as a beginner, you're setting the ball up instead of passing it, then shooting, you're setting the ball up every time in the same spot, and then maybe, practicing a pull or that kind of thing. And I've been told, because I'm a beginner, that I should never do that, that I should always pass the ball first, make a complete pass, and if I complete the pass, then I can shoot.
Yeah, that's a
Things like
good.
that.
Sure.
It's a good system. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
I'll go back
yeah.
to something Dana said last week. And I'm a big fan of starting in the goalie area too. I'm a big fan also, Midori, of having fun. So yeah, passing and shooting and using some fundamentals like Tom was talking about. Set the ball up, or pass it, catch the pass, getting your stance, set it up and shoot it. But from the 2-bar, you heard Dana talk about corralling and cradling.
Yes.
And corralling of the ball is keeping it in your area. Cradling the ball is moving it back and forth in a position where you're always a threat to shoot. So you're duplicating the same exercise on the 2-bar that you would on the 3-bar, not having some weird change in stance or hand position. You want to give your shot away. So how do you get in your shooting stance and move the ball around in a way so you're always a threat to shoot, and being able to pass and open, hit all the holes, and they all look the same on different times. But I think the other big thing that people probably overlook, if you got the Inside Foos archive and you watched defenses and mimic them exactly at a master, the masters, I mean, it's like chess. You're just moving pieces. And if you move your men, you understand the distance of the men and how the men are in a certain area. They're not over blocking an area. You understand the pace and the tempo. There's way more nuance than that. But if you were just to take Tracy McMillan's defense or Bobby Diaz's defense, and you could mimic them, you would get blocks. You would get blocks just because you're mimicking them. Now, there's a whole bunch, there's years of philosophy behind it, and how, why, and picking out weaknesses of the player. But just knowing the fundamentals of defense from watching foosball history, it's all there.
Yep.
All in the archive.
And of course, once you start to progress and you start to play with other people, when you're playing defense, of course, if you're in the pit, having communication with your forward and saying, okay, you want me to cover the middle, the long, the short, where do you want me to cover, getting into a zone strategy, that kind of thing, that comes later.
For sure. There's so much that is situational too. We talked also a little bit about this last week, where if you're playing in your weekly draw, that's one thing where you know strengths and weaknesses, and you end up like favoring certain zones for certain players.
Sure.
The other advantage meta strategy is you go out on tour with someone you never met before. And we also spoke to it on this broadcast. You're playing someone, and you're playing the person, not the table.
Right.
So you're seeing what the person's strengths and weaknesses are in live, in real time, and you're building your case. You're building your narrative from the first ball to the last ball. I know this person has a weak lane pass, or they've only caught it 50% of the time. So I'm going to make a conscious decision on this tight ball. I'm going to make that person catch a lane pass.
Interesting.
That's and having the self-awareness in the moment to not be stressed out and being able to put that into motion and execute it. Those are all competitive steps and climbing the ladder, becoming more and more present in a match.
Okay. Well, I want to continue on this technical aspect of some of the questions, because they are technical. But this next one comes from John Crawford. It's more of a request rather than a question. He's looking for. He's saying, how about strategies on how to block the pull shot? So Midori, do you want to give away any information about that?
I don't even know. I guess it depends on I don't know. Everyone has their different. Some people just race people. Some are, I'm going to show you, like, the bait, try and get you to go where they want you to go. I don't know is the question, like, what is the most successful, like,
I guess
defense, or
he's probably looking for ideas as to, if he comes up against you, how is he going to block your pull shot?
Oh, well, I'm not going to answer that.
I think that's what he intended anyway. I can't put words in his mouth, but that's the way it was written. So, Liz, do you want to share any wisdom about how to block a pull shot?
I mean, again, you kind of have to go back to, know your opponent. Is this a player that you've seen shoot before? Do they have a spray? Do they like dead bars? As a goalie, you always want to kind of try to control, you want to make the forward go where you want to go. Sometimes it's a great idea to race somebody.
Okay.
Sometimes it's not. So I think the best defenses to try is to just try.
Yeah.
Have some movement. The movements should be intentional at first. Sometimes you just have to wing ding it and throw your men out there if your intentionality isn't working.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
If they're crushing you every time, if they're hitting that middle and you're just not doing anything about it, I mean, how do you adjust to that?
yeah, I mean, I have closed my eyes before in matches because I'm getting drilled, and it's worked.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
sometimes true story. I mean, sometimes you can't figure it out. Sometimes you just can't figure it out,
Right.
and so I've actually closed my eyes before. So I don't recommend it for everybody, but
What is the psychological effect when Midori, I'll ask you this question: when the goalie you're shooting against has figured you out and is now basically taking away the things you rely upon when it comes to your, let's say, your long pole, what do you do?
I'm gonna either try and change my timing up, try and either, if that doesn't work, try and throw something to, like, are they just beating me there, or am I just timing it wrong? Like, I'll try and change my timing. I've done what Liz has done, and I've just not looked at all,
Okay.
so that I'm not talking myself into when I think I should be shooting, because obviously that's not working. I've tried to shoot at their guys, because maybe, like, I'm shooting at the open hole and then they're getting there in time, so I'll
Right.
shoot at their guys hoping that they'll move out of the way. Liz has definitely taught me, like, way slow down and kind of, like, a lot of times I'm like, I have to get there first if I want to score. And Liz has showed me, like, the real slow middle, and they'll either overrun it or I don't even know. It's just magic.
Magic. Okay.
But it's
There's a good
but
one.
it's something I wouldn't have tried on my own. And I'm like, there's no way if I go slower, they're not going to block me. But it's just that changing the timing of what they've adapted,
What they're
to you,
expecting.
knowing, what they're expecting.
Yeah. Got it. Liz, anything to
Can
add
I
on?
can I bring up what Dana said about this last week?
Yes.
As a kind of refresher. So Dana is kind of a disciple of some. I think the progenitor is probably Gus Trevino, but it probably goes back further. And then you get guys like Bobby Diaz and Dana Marr. This idea that the hole can be split up into 3 spaces, and essentially what the idea is: give people the dead bar on both sides, the straight and the long, the absolute dead bar, and then have one edge of your man blocking the rest of the fine holes. So it's a shell game. You give people, there are 3 holes, you're always blocking a piece of 2 of the holes. And if they're going to score on you, they have to have a very precise shot. And you build from there your case on what does the opponent not like to look at. So every single shooter has something they don't like to look at, and it's also situational. Someone will have something they don't like to look at on that weekend, or something bugs them about what you're doing, and that's the headspace of foosball. You could tilt your man back. I know one master, I won't say his name. I could tilt my man back and he's going to shoot into my man when he shoots along.
Really?
So different masters like this. I know another master, I could bend my 2-bar, I could compress the bumper, he's going to shoot into my man. People have stuff they don't like to look at. So that's just part of figuring it out. And I don't know if I think I got cut off for a second, but I don't want to take too much oxygen out of the room. Please,
Clay.
Liz, I think you were gonna add something next, Liz, please.
I was.
I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know.
Huh? Okay. Well, I have another technical aspect, another thing that I think is actually maybe Ray Gun Cordova. He's throwing in. So how does a referee know when to call a reset on snake shot or front and back pin? Anybody want to handle that? I'm going to toss that out to either one of you.
I mean,
I don't know.
Well, the truth of the matter is that it's rare. The movements of your opponent, if you have the ball in a pin shot or a snake shot, would have to be pretty erratic to have a reset called, in my opinion. Because, I mean, think about just the the science of having a ball pinned. I mean, how do you make that ball move with the opposing men?
Right.
You don't. So resets can be called in that situation, but the movements of your opponent have to be just erratic. I mean, it would just have to be clanging the bumper.
Gotcha.
I could be wrong. That might be an Arthur question. I don't know that I've seen resets called. I mean, you can still jar. You could be called for distraction.
Sure.
Excessive movement. Midori, what do you think?
That sounds right.
The milk and cookies are wearing off, guys.
What?
Oh, I don't understand the question. You touch the table, you feel the table, and you feel the aggression on the table.
Yeah.
Is how they
But
do
a
it, right? What's the question?
reset's usually like you can visually see that the ball is moving and that the opposing people are causing it to do that. So when it's pinned, you can't visually see a reset. I mean, a jar,
Right.
yeah. I mean, you can feel, or just know if it's like that aggressive. I mean, I don't know. I'm not certified, so.
Right. You'd have to be.
Sitting out.
Oh, you're certified.
With the rule book.
Yeah. No, I think I think you're still feeling for the tension on the table, and that's how you get a reset.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That answers it. Well, I have this one last question because this is the king of them all, and this is about the future. So, Liz, I want you to take this first. What do you think?
Okay.
What do you think, in retrospect, was the key of growth, the key area of growth that pushed the USA women's team to become the World Cup championships?
Okay, yeah, this is actually an easy question for me, just because I've been on the team 5 times, and the biggest change happened when we went to Germany in 2017, and when that team was assembled, the coaching staff at the time, that was Melanie Tosh, and I believe the captain was Tracy. Melanie's vision was to do something different. All the members of the previous teams were definitely high quality players, but we primarily took doubles teams. We had forwards and an equal amount of goalies, and so she decided to predominantly try to vote in or bring in singles players,
right?
With a couple of key goalies, and that team brought us to a 3rd place finish in 2017.
Yeah.
So we basically took that same strategy moving forward. I think actually, I mean, it's hard to say because it's the voting committee that put the team together, but it worked. Like it kind of carried over from 2017 to the 2019, where most of the players were high quality singles players, and then we had a couple of strong goalies, and we were able to mix and match because pretty much every forward on the women's team is a damn good goalie.
Right.
And we can interchange with each other rather well. Most of us have world championship titles. I mean, we definitely had more flexibility, I think. And when we had these opponents from these different countries with different strengths and stuff, we were able to say, okay, well, this one player can do both positions in this combination. So it just made for a better formula for us to, take it all the way to the finish line.
Yeah, right. No, obviously versatility became the strength for this last team. Midori, did you want to chime in on that? We've got about 2 minutes left.
Well, Liz said it great, and I wasn't on the team any of the other years, so I can't really compare like the progress that was made from year to year. But I mean, it was just a great team, and we strategized. When you're playing, you're strategizing. When you're not playing, you're strategizing. We communicated well, and I don't know. It was just the magic formula, I guess.
Okay. And 2022, that will be the year that you guys go back and do this again. I assume that both of you will be on the team. Is that correct?
I sure hope so.
We hope so. You know,
Okay.
we're not in charge. It's the committee that will decide that, and it's our hope, of course.
Yep. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Well, we certainly hope so because you were so successful the last time. Yeah, looking forward to that, to say the least. Mark, any parting questions you have for our ladies here?
No parting questions. I'll just say that I've seen every picture of every other Women's World Cup team. I thought they didn't win. They didn't win. I thought every single team should have won. So impressed by the quality of people on the team. And I think I'm just proud you guys all put it together in 2019, whatever it was, the conflict. That last match that you and Liz played together was a perfect blend of seasoned experience on the team and new blood. And maybe there's some combination of that. I think that's, I mean, if I had to guess, is the melding of those two rich histories in foosball together, youth and seasoning for a big win. I'm going to the next World Cup. I don't think I'll be allowed to play in it, no matter how much I've been drinking, but I will be there to root on my team, and I'll be wearing an American flag for as long as I can.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully us too.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Well,
What a
guys,
blast this was. Yes.
So
Good time.
I got to say, guys, that we are out of time, unfortunately. But I wanted to, first of all, say to Midori, thank you so much for jumping in for birthday boy Jim, and Liz, you are the best. We're so glad and grateful that you could make it as our special guest tonight. So both Midori and Liz, thanks for joining us. And
Thank you for having us.
yeah, looking to have you back real soon. And Mark, maybe you ought to get up out of the bathroom now and go join the rest of the world. But so
I'm
anyway,
staying here, right here. Not done yet.
anyway, we'll be back again next week. It is FooTalk Live. Thank you so much for tuning in.
FooTalk Live is a product of Foosball Radio and Inside Foos TV. All rights reserved. Our sincere thanks to 518 Prince, Foosball Clubs USA, Foosballers the Movie, and the United States Table Soccer Organization. Join us next Sunday for another episode of FooTalk Live. In the meantime,
We'll see you, Foozin'.